presented, and I made a comment that there's a lag effect with the data, and Professor Phillips made the same comment. He was wondering if we were communicating with each other somehow. But I think it comes with an understanding of how to interpret data. And I appreciate the fact that, and I know that there were faculty who were involved in formulating the survey. But I would request too that if we're going to talk about engagement, and it sort of covers two things. If we're talking about engagement and we're talking about this interpretation, survey data is just loaded with pitfalls. There are books written both on how to conduct surveys, but also on errors made in interpretation of survey research. So I think it would make a lot of sense to cover both sides of this if you're going to do something like that, and we have experts at our campuses who do survey research data when it comes to the presentation of something like survey research data, that the board itself make use of those experts even in the presentation. And I think that that would even go a long way to both serving our function, if we're going to view the system, and I do appreciate the chair and the chancellor reiterating we're an educational institution in our presentation to the public about how you approach these things, but also I think it's a matter of demonstrating actual engagement, that the faculty are actually engaged with the board and are using their expertise and sharing it with them. So I thank you for that. My name is Kenneth M, and I'm the president of the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties. I'm the president of the Commonwealth, I can say that the quickest. We represent 5,000, over 5,000 faculty and coaches in our great system. Today we're going to be signing the faculty contract after the meeting, and I do again want to take the opportunity to thank the chancellor and the board, and particularly the chair, for the productive contract negotiations that we had. I want to thank all the members of the team on the administrative side, both for the faculty contract and the contract with the coaches, which I believe both were very productive and had constructive conversation about shared concerns. I believe that the intent was clearly out there to start a new day, for us to be able to share our concerns in a manner that is productive rather than hurtful, even to the system. We all, as I said before, need to be pulling in the same direction, and that direction should always be in the direction of doing what is in the best interest of our students. And I think that that goes a long way. When we started, went a long way to fixing a problem, a real serious problem. And that effort's going to continue in the next few weeks as the chancellor and I, as well as members of our teams, will jointly speak to faculty and administration on the campuses, not just about the specific changes that are in the contract, but also to speak about the spirit that led to that. One of the problems that we have is not just that we have language in the contract, but that for so long, while we might have language in a contract, we did not necessarily articulate what our shared understanding of that contract means. So again, my thanks for your willingness to do that. So, this is really a matter of an honest attempt to change the culture of our state system. And it's changing a culture which, in fact, had reached, in many instances, toxic levels with regard to that culture. We can't, however, fool ourselves. After years of distrust and bad feelings, we all have to remain aware that the ice is thin, that there are pitfalls along the way. And I don't want to be overly negative here. I want to state some real appreciation to some of our university presidents who have almost immediately initiated, or tried to repeat the transparency that existed in our conversations, reached out to faculty for their expertise, and that is wholly appreciated. But at the same time, I continue to be disheartened by reports from other campuses where decisions have been made, particularly decisions that impact academic quality, with little or no consultation with the faculty, or where decisions are being made that have obvious impact on the lives of the faculty and coaches on a campus, which really seem to be almost callous in the way that they are carried out, or where there have been willful violations of the collective bargaining agreement, which again all can undermine all the efforts that we are putting together. When it comes to that term systemness that the chancellor has used so often, we at APSCUF, that's not a concept that's new to us. We have always talked to each other. We have always communicated with each other. We have always understood that what happens on one campus impacts things that happen on the other campuses. We have always seen those connections, and we have an understanding of, the decisions that we make as an organization. What is that impact? If it's done on one campus, what is going to be done on another campus? What happens is going to be what happens on the individual campuses that is going to be the measure for the faculty across the system of the success of the project that we are engaged in. Cultural change is, and I've heard it here, a very difficult thing to pull off, and it takes time. And you, board, and the chancellor have undertaken a lot of different things at one time. And as I said before, to be successful in this type of change, this type of dramatic change, doing so many things at one time, that can't possibly happen unless we are all pulling in the same direction. And I want to reiterate, cultural change means that attitude of working together has to cascade down to all 14 of our campuses. And it has to be done with the same alacrity with which we are confronting our financial enrollment and retention issues. Let's understand, there's still out there a lot of bad feeling. There is still out there those who are harboring resentments that go back for years. And there are those who, simply by human nature, are going to be willing to pounce on failure to demonstrate that it's impossible for us to be in a situation where we work together. And if some of our universities just don't alter the way that they do business, failure will be inevitable for all of us. Again, not failure for a particular university, but failure for the entire state system of higher education. We collectively need to do everything in our power to make sure that failure doesn't happen, and to make sure that we are as successful as we possibly be, so that we can do and continue to do what's in the best interest of our students and make sure that they reach their full potential.